Hello, welcome back to Tao of Mary. This channel is all about sharing truth, and truth is so important to live by because if we're not living by truth, we're living in illusion, and illusion literally has the word ill in it because anything that's not the truth makes us sick. Today, I'm going to be addressing how we can move into the deepest union with ourselves through full self-acceptance, and why total self-acceptance is the only path forward to healing and to being happy, truly happy and fulfilled in this life. If you are someone who struggles with even the idea of loving yourself, this video is for you because there is no pressure here to love yourself. Self-acceptance is the gateway to self-love. So if self-love feels very distant and very unattainable, that's okay. You cannot force love. Self-acceptance is the first step because before love can enter a situation, there first needs to be space for that love to enter. Love can't be forced. You have to respect and honor where you're at, and you do this by creating space for your feelings and for your current understanding of life and who you are. Through the willingness to explore our disowned parts, to face our shadow side, to face the parts of us where we feel shame and meet those parts with full self-acceptance, we come to know everything that we are not. We can look at fear, we can look at the doubt, we can look at the shame and say, I don't resonate with you. I don't resonate with this energy. This is not me. I do not claim you. We come to know what we are not. And as we do that, we make space for a new understanding to emerge of what we truly are. I live my life with the underlying principle of unconditional self-compassion. And that means no matter what I do in this life, no matter how I feel, I always meet myself with unconditional self-compassion. That means that my pain, my suffering, that deserves compassion. When I fail at things, when I feel like I don't look good, when I notice the voice of judgment, I deserve compassion, and so do you. And this is a practice that you can do all the time, every single day, whenever you notice that voice being mean to you in your head, whenever you notice that voice judging you. As you adopt this principle of unconditional self-compassion, you will expand into the knowing that all parts of you are acceptable. There is no part of you that you cannot face. There is no part of you that is too much. There is no part of you that is not enough. If you fail to face certain parts of you, then you will continue to live in shame, and you will continue to live with an inner divide of who you are. You can only reach full inner peace when you have faced all parts of you, and there is inner union, because that is when you feel inner wholeness. If there is any sort of divide within you about this narrative of I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, there are certain parts of me that are acceptable, and there are certain parts of me that are unacceptable. This creates an inner divide of energy, of positive qualities and negative qualities. The truth is, all parts of you are to be accepted. All parts of you are to be faced. And when you can face these parts, you realize that any sense of divide is simply an illusion. The truth is, you are whole. You are complete. You are completely worthy in this moment, exactly as you are. I'm telling you this because this is an indisputable truth. You are whole. And we are all born into this world completely whole, completely worthy. No one is more important than anyone else. And as we live life, we get conditioned to believe that there are certain parts of us that are not enough, and there are certain parts of us that are too much. Somewhere in our lives, we pick up the belief that we are fundamentally flawed. There's something wrong with us. The fact that you have been born and you exist right now means that you deserve to be here. You deserve all good things. You deserve to live in a state of inner peace. You deserve to live in full union with yourself, and you deserve to love life. You deserve to enjoy life. For a long time, I tied my worth and my sense of value as a human being to my appearance, the way I looked physically, as well as my actions. And I believed in a narrative. I told myself a narrative unconsciously that I am more valuable, I am more worthy and deserving of love when I appear beautiful and when I meet certain standards of physical beauty. And simultaneously, I told myself the narrative that I am more valuable in society, I am more worthy of love when I perform for that love, when I work hard, when I get up early, when I make money. These are common stories that people tell themselves about who they need to be, what they need to do in order to feel okay inside, in order to feel like they can be accepted, and in order to feel like they deserve love. The important thing to see here is that these are simply stories. These are stories that we learn, that we pick up from other people. We learn these conditions of love and of value and acceptance based on other people in our lives, based on society and the media and our family and our peers. And you are the only one that needs to accept you. And when you can fully accept yourself, that is when you will be protected against the judgments of others, because any judgment that someone is imposing on you is really just a judgment that they are imposing on themselves, and they are projecting that judgment outward onto you. So it's really not about performing for love to gain the love from other people and to gain external validation. In doing this, we're just deflecting the work that we need to do with ourselves. We are being misled into thinking that we need the love and validation and acceptance of others, when really what we need more than anything is to come home to ourselves, is to create a space within ourselves of total self-acceptance. And only from this space can you be liberated and in this life. Only from this space of total self-acceptance can you be protected from the judgments of the world. The person who commented on one of my last videos said that they feel tension at the very idea of accepting their inner child. When there is tension, when there is shame, when we examine any parts of us, that is okay. Don't be afraid to feel that tension, to feel that shame, to fully acknowledge its presence. You do not have to be afraid of any feeling. You do not have to be afraid of any feeling coming up. If something is coming up, if you notice the presence of dis-ease within you, that actually means that the emotion is on its way out of you. What an emotion needs in order to pass through you is your full acceptance of it. Maybe you can't accept yourself yet. Maybe you can't accept all parts of you. But can you accept the fact that a certain emotion is there? Can you look at the shame and say, I see you? Can you look at it and not judge it and just notice its presence and accept it? In doing this, you create space, and space is where grace flows through. Space is the energy in which healing occurs. We cannot heal when our energy is constricted, when we are closed off. We must be open. Resistance to certain feelings will create restriction. It will cause you to constrict. All you need to do is acknowledge that tension and shame when it comes up. And we do this by feeling it in our bodies and becoming aware of the inner narrative, the story that is running through our minds about who we are and about who we were in the past. When we are born, we are totally innocent and we are embodying our true essence. We are carefree and we are not ashamed of who we are. But then we interact with other people and we begin to internalize their stories, their ideas about what the world is and about what life is and how people should behave. And we adopt those beliefs and we internalize those ideas. If you are feeling shame, if you are feeling tension at the idea of accepting certain parts of yourself, I urge you to examine the stories that you have been telling yourself. Know that these are just stories. They don't exist. This is something that you're telling yourself, and it is completely within your power to change. And you can change your inner narrative by first validating, accepting completely where you are right now. And I have done this. I have managed to shift, to completely change my inner narrative through the underlying principle that I deserve compassion at all times. I deserve to give myself compassion for everything that I'm going through. So on my journey, I have felt a lot of shame for certain parts of myself. I have felt that certain parts of me are not enough and not good enough. And I have been able to meet that shame face to face because I have an ally on my side. I have unconditional self-compassion. That is the underlying principle in which I meet myself with at all times. And unconditional self-compassion is going to be an amazing tool on this journey because you know that when you have to meet these parts, when these difficult parts of you come up and you feel scared and you feel ashamed and you feel doubtful and you feel depressed, you know that there is actually a space within you that you can go to where it's all okay. It's okay to feel small. It's okay to feel afraid. It's okay to feel like you can't love yourself and that you're not enough. Go to this space. And I made a video about this. It's the Divine Feminine Guide to Ending Your Inner Critic. And I talk about the inner mother. The archetype, the image of the inner mother has been so helpful for me on this journey because that is what I call that space within me, that place of unconditional self-acceptance. I call it the inner mother. And when I do not feel strong enough to accept myself, when human Mary, when this version of me that's here on earth right now, when I do not feel like I have the strength to face myself, and when I'm just wallowing in shame, I know that I can return to the inner mother at all times. She is that space. She lives within me, and she always accepts me. She always loves me. Her love can't run out. You are always welcome as you are there. And as I've deferred that self-acceptance to this idea of the inner mother, I've expanded into the knowing that the inner mother is me. There is no separation between me and the inner mother. And I now live in a space of total self-acceptance, and self-compassion is the ruling principle of my life. I am rooted in the knowing that there is nothing that I can do to improve my worth. There's nothing I can do to improve my value in this world, in this life. I am completely whole. That is truth. You are completely whole. There is no amount of money you can make. There is no partner, no boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife you can have that will improve your worth. There is no job you can have. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. It doesn't matter whether you're living on the street or living in a beautiful mansion. You are just as worthy. That worth doesn't change. And when we live life rooted in this knowing, we relinquish the need to perform for love. We can put down the mask. We can stop playing this charade, this unconscious charade of thinking that we need to pretend to be someone and do all of these things and be someone else in order to accept ourselves, in order to be loved. I no longer do anything because I think that I have to, because I think that there's pressure on me to be a certain way. I no longer perform for love. And Maybe you're wondering, like, well, how do you have the motivation to achieve goals? This way of living liberates your energy because now, in a state of full self-acceptance, in a state of knowing that you are completely whole, you achieve things in this life. You do things because you genuinely want to, because you wonder what could happen, because you know that there is limitless potential and power that exists inside of you. And you wonder, what would happen if I took action to achieve what lights me up? You're no longer afraid to follow those authentic sparks that light you up. And your worth is no longer tied to the outcome. You no longer need to achieve anything to feel okay, because you know that even if you fail in this life, fail externally, you've still won the game internally, because you have reached full self-acceptance in a world where most people are rejecting themselves. And I realized that there is no amount of money or riches or external material things that could satisfy me if I live in a state of self-rejection. Nothing matters in this life if you are rejecting yourself. That is living in hell when you reject yourself. When we are rooted in the knowing that we are completely whole as we are, we activate our power, our innate power, and that knowing of how powerful you are, that you have something that can never be taken away from you. That is so energizing to move into that knowing. That knowing will energize you. It will propel you forward. It will carry you through the hard times, because no matter how hard life gets, no matter how much you fail, you can come home to the knowing that you love yourself, that you accept all parts of you, that it's okay. It's okay. You can live in peace and ease. As I have come to accept myself in this life, I have released all my shame for existence and for who I am. And it has really been as simple as deciding that I do not resonate with a narrative that propels me into shame. I do not resonate with a narrative that tells me that there are certain parts of me that I am to be ashamed of. That's not my story. That's not my story. And when you know that it's just a story, it's just a voice, it's just a narrative, it doesn't mean anything about you, that's when you can change it. Your belief in the story is what keeps it going. Your belief that your identity is tied to this shameful part of you, that's what keeps the story going. And when you know that it's just an illusion, it's not real, it's just a story, that's when the power dissipates. Because every time you hear the story running through your head, you can just acknowledge, that's not my story, and you don't have to energize it with your belief. You can turn away from it. You can hear it still, and you can acknowledge that it's there, but you don't have to freak out and lose yourself to the emotion attached with the story, because you know that the story's not real. And this process does require a lot of inner vigilance, and you will have to train yourself to be watching your mind every day, all day, as much as you can remember. Make it your mission to be watching your mind. Become the guard of your mind. Treat yourself as sacred. Why are you allowing this garbage to be inside your head? I've decided that I want to live in a mind that is completely supportive of who I am. And I've decided that I deserve to live in a mind that is completely supportive of who I am. And as a result, I do not accept any voice that I hear that puts me down. I do not put myself down. I am not someone who puts myself down. Tell yourself that. I am not someone who puts myself down. I am not someone who lives in shame. As you tell yourself this, you will notice all the times in your day when that shameful voice arises, when that voice that's putting you down arises. And this voice becomes a parasite when you allow it to take over you. As you shed all of these identities, as you shed all of this shame and tension, you will inevitably come into deeper union with yourself and a fuller understanding of what you are. And I can't tell you what you are because it's too great to be described in words. And another reason is because I don't really know what you are or what I am for that matter. And to me, it's just so beyond words. And the world tries to pin us down into this box of what we are and who we need to be in order to exist in this world and be accepted and be deserving of love. And all of that is fake. What you are at your core, your essence, it is too great for words. It is too great to be pinned down in this box by these conditions. You are sacred. This energy, this life force energy that inhabits your body, that allows you to exist and express yourself and create in this world. That is so crazy. It is sacred. It comes from this unnameable divine source. And you deserve to treat yourself like you are sacred because you are sacred. Start living as though you are sacred.